Hey guys, we're on day number 10. We're working on strength, mobility. Again today, same as last week. Very similar to the workout last week. We've got 3 circuits, 4 exercises apiece. We're gonna be doing each circuit twice. We're gonna start with Shinbox transfers with a bit of a twist. So very similar to last week, except the difference is we are now going to be lifting the hips and squaring the hips out. So when we come over, try to keep the feet in one spot so we're not moving them. And then when we come up, square the hips. Let's go ahead and let's begin. So side to side, square the hips out. Try not to use the hands. If you have to use the hands, that's no problem. But do your best to stay upright and keep the feet in one spot. You might notice things are moving a little bit smoother now that we've got quite a few days under the belt. Hips are loosening up. This is gonna feel a little bit easier. And that's time. All right, so we're gonna move into a push-up plus. So we're gonna go into a plank position. So we did this kneeling last time. Let's try this from a plank position now. And we're just bringing the shoulder blades together and pressing up and apart. So if it's too much from the plank, we can come back to the knees and do it from here. But let's go, shoulders together, push up and apart. Try to keep the head facing forward so we're not tucking the chin, and keep the hands apart from one another. We want to keep the back nice and flat, and so the only thing moving is the shoulder blades. So keep the body in a nice straight line. This does take some core strength. Again, if it's too much to do it from the plank, just go to hands and knees just like before and get the back as round as you can. This is really good for the shoulder strength. So we're training the serratus anterior. It's a muscle. You feel it kind of in the armpit. It's great for stability in the shoulder. That's time, nicely done. And we're gonna move into some frog rotations. We're gonna find ourselves in that frog stretch. So knees nice and wide. So bring the stretch to about a 6 out of 10 with the toes pointing out. And from here, without moving anything else in the body, we're gonna rotate the foot off the ground as far as you can and hold for 3 seconds. So let's start with the left. We're gonna rotate off the ground 1, 2, 3, and then switch sides. Up, 1, 2, 3. And just challenge yourself to keep still everywhere except for that hip that's rotating. Other side, 1, 2, 3. Just another way to work the hip internal rotation. So many people are missing that rotation, so their deep squats feel very locked up in the hips. So we love training this. And one more here, 1, 2, 3, and that's time. And we're gonna go back to the spinal waves, just like before. So in a push-up position, we're trying to create a wave through the spine. So start by tucking the chin, round the back, and come all the way up into a downward dog. And then start from the tailbone, round and hollow out the body, and come all the way down to an upward dog. So let's go ahead, tuck the chin, round the upper back, and send a big wave through the spine, and then we'll take it the other way. Let's bring it back through. So we've got the Shinbox transfers and then lifting into that glute raise. So we're gonna try to use no hands for this one. And at the top of that raise, work on trying to get the hips squared forward. So here we go. Try to stay in complete control of the motion so we're not whipping the body up and down. Move deliberately with purpose here. And press. So we're gonna move into that push-up plus from the plank. Again, if it's too difficult, we just move into from the knees, opening and closing the shoulders, just like we did the last time. So let's get ready. If you can, try to keep the hands separate. And here we go. Or if you do the first, 20 seconds from the plank and then switch to the knees, that works great too. Try to keep the head forward so we're not tucking the chin. Keep the body still. All right, very nice. So we've got the frog stretch rotations next. So bring the knees nice and wide. Bring yourself to a 6 or 7 out of 10 stretch, so you should feel some stretch. And then we're just gonna rotate the foot off the ground, alternating sides. Bring the elbows to the floor. Let's get ready. Here we go. Rotate. Hold for about 3 seconds on each one. And get as much rotation in the hip as you can. You're gonna feel right up in the outside of the hip working for this one. So far, so good. All right, and we got our last round of the spinal waves. Try to move the back as fluidly as you can for this one, moving in and out. Get ready. Here we go, push-up position. Let's start round the spine. Come on up into that downward facing dog. Round the spine, and like a wave, into the upward dog. All right, there we go. So, got a little bit of a break before we move on into our more hip focused. We'll be starting with a deep squat with some rotation. And then we've got some hip flexor strength work. And then we'll finish with some crab bridges again for the shoulders. So if for these deep squat rotations, you can't comfortably sit in the deep squat yet, that's okay, just work on that deep squat and don't worry about the rotations. You can bring the hands to the floor or hold something in front of you if you have it, access, but just work on this. If you can get into the deep squat, we're gonna be working on some rotation. So sit deep into the squat, and then we're gonna rotate one arm up to the ceiling and push on the opposite leg. So push with the left arm, reach up with the right arm, and then we switch, push with the right arm, reach up with the left arm. So here we go. Let's rotate in that deep squat position. Try to keep the bum low and twist and reach to the sky as high as you can. Feel some stretching in the lower back and definitely in the hips here. All right, so these are pretty tough. We're gonna start with a seat, left leg straight out in front, and we're gonna hug the knee. So try to stay as upright as you can with your torso, and we're just gonna lift the leg as high as you can and hold for a 3 count and put it back down. Here we go. So lift and hold 1, 2, 3, back down, and up 1, 2, 3. So keep that tempo. Try to keep the back as upright as you can. So as you lift the leg, you're not leaning backward. You can feel this in the front of the hip, and the thigh is the hip flexor muscle that we're working on. Oftentimes tightness in the hip flexor is really just weakness in the hip flexor. So we like to strengthen and stretch the hip flexors to get the most out of them. That's time. All right, we're just in the same thing on the other leg. So have a seat. We're gonna hug the knee into the chest. This time, right leg is out in front. You're using the knee as leverage, so you're not leaning back. Stay as upright as you can and lifting the foot. A great option for this is also to sit right up against a wall to force yourself upright. So let's go ahead. Lift 1, 2, 3, and lift 1, 2, 3. Try to keep the back as flat as you can. 1, 2, 3, and let's maintain that tempo. Really try not to lean back. You're gonna feel the front of the hip start to really work and burn. The leg might shake or cramp. Either is fine. It does go away with time. All right, that's time. Okay, let's bring the hands to the floor, and we're gonna bring the feet out. So we're forming like an M with the body. And then from here, we're gonna be lifting the hips up as high as you can and pressing the arms into the floor, opening up through the chest to stretch the front of the shoulders. We're just doing reps here. Here we go. So same as with the lifts, leg lifts, just hold for about 3 seconds and bring yourself back down. Really press into the floor, open up, and back down. Squeeze the shoulders together and press firm into the floor. Really feel the front of the shoulders stretching on every rep. All right, we get to go through that all again for round 2. So we're starting off with the deep squat and rotations. Again, if you have troubles just even sitting in the deep squat position, just practice that for the time. But if you are able to sit in that deep squat, let's get rotating. So here we go. Let's take the left arm on the inside of the left leg and reach up with the right. And then we're just alternating. Get as much rotation as you can for a split second, and then switch. Feel the whole side of the body stretching in the lower back. All right, so we got those L-sit leg raises. So let's have a seat. Left leg out in front, and let's hug in the right knee to the chest to keep you sitting nice and tall. We're just gonna be lifting that left leg up and down, feeling the quad and hip flexor working. So let's go ahead and get ready. And here we go. Lift, hold for 1, 2, 3. Let's keep that going. Type of strength mobility work is that non-glamorous strength work that really helps you unlock your higher levels of flexibility and mobility and just get your body moving really well. Is trying to isolate some of these movements that are so important to fitness. Things like hip flexion strong hip flexion is really good for deep squats, for sprinting, Olympic lifting. But a lot of people don't train this hip flexion because number one, it really sucks. It's really uncomfortable, it's crampy, it's gross, and it's kind of boring, if I'm honest. But, it's effective, very effective. You'll see a big difference in your squatting as you get your hip flexor stronger. Here we go. But the biggest thing you'll notice is just a change in your forward folding flexibility. Makes a really big difference there. All right, let's keep it going. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're not leaning back, stay nice and upright. All right, one more rep, guys, let's get it. Awesome, and we've got those crab bridges, and that'll finish this circuit, and our last one's a killer. We've got those Cossack squats. This time we're gonna do it with some kneeling hip cars. Absolutely brutal, but effective. All right, so let's get the hands on the floor, facing forward. Let's go for it. Hips up, hold, press the shoulders together, open up through the front of the chest, and down. All right, let's keep that tempo going. Open, open, we're almost there. Last one. All right, that's time. Okay, we got last break here, and we're finishing off with the Cossack squats and kneeling hip cars. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button. It does help more people find this. Let us know how you're finding the program, how the hips are feeling. We'd love to know. So we're gonna get ready. We're gonna be standing with the legs nice and wide. So a good starting point for this is to bring your feet as wide as your wingspan. So from the wrist down, that's where we want the ankles to be. And we're gonna be doing the squats to the left-hand side to start. So we're gonna get the right leg straight, keep the hips and chest facing forward, and we'll squat down as low as you can to the left and up. Keep everything squared forward. Got a few seconds left here. These are tough. Try to keep the feet facing relatively forward. And here we go. Nice and controlled. And up we go. Bring the arms out in front as a counterbalance if that helps you. But stay as upright as you can. So it's better to be upright and have less depth than to be leaning forward. So focus on that upright posture as we do these. 15 more seconds. Couple more reps. So next we've got kneeling hip cars. These are really tough. I'll take you through it. All right, so let's come quickly to hands and knees. So from the hands and knees, we're gonna be making circles with the left hip. So we wanna bear all of the weight with the left hand and the right leg. And I'll guide you through the reps as we go. You can see on the screen what I'm doing, but I'll take you through it. So let's firmly press the left hand and right shin into the floor. And we're gonna take the left leg straight out to the side like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. Once it's up here, rotate the foot up to face the ceiling and then all the way around. Keep the knee as high as you can. And we're just gonna continue circles like that. So knee out to the side, lift the foot up to face the ceiling and all the way around, and really challenge yourself not to tip to the right. So you want to keep nice and squared, keep all of your weight in your left hand, and make those circles as big as possible. So round one, we're going to do in this direction. Round two, we'll change directions and kick back first. So keep that direction going, up and around. They're really tough. It's very normal to cramp, and that's time. All right, we get to do that on the other side. So Cossacks for the right, and we've got those hip cars for the right. Then we're going to do the opposite direction in the next round. So let's get the feet nice and wide again. We're Cossack squatting to the right. Again, keep the left leg nice and straight. Here we go. Into it we go. Keep the chest facing forward, hips facing forward, everything squared, and down we go. Good. Keep the chest nice and high, chest nice and forward. Let's get it. We are halfway through. Let's continue. Final 10 seconds. All right, so let's come down to hands and knees. And we're gonna do those hip cars on the right hand side. So hands and knees, let's keep all the weight in the right hand and left shin, and really try not to tip to the left hand side. You wanna stay nice and squared. So I'll take you through the first rep here. So let's go ahead, press the right hand, left shin firm into the floor. We're gonna take the right leg straight out to the side, like a dog peeing on a hydrant. Turn the foot up and around. Make the circle as big as you can. Keep it controlled the whole time. Really challenge yourself to go as high as you can. So we're not just whipping through circles willy-nilly. We want to go hard, put as much effort into making the circle as large as you can. That's how you make the progress. And we're trying to just move the hip. One more here. Over. Maybe one more. I lied. Here we go. Oh, here we go. If you've ever worked with a trainer before, you know we lie a lot. It's unintentional. All right, so let's get ready. We're going down to the left again. This time on the hip cars, we're gonna go the opposite direction. So the leg's gonna kick back first. But let's go nice and wide. Cossacks. Here we go, to the left. Don't pretend that Beyonce's song didn't just run in your head when I said that. All right, here we go. Chest facing forward. Hips facing forward. Keep that right leg straight. Ten more seconds. All right, so hands and knees. We got those hip cars this time. We're gonna kick the leg back first, then stay up high and come around. Okay? So let's get prepared. We're gonna put all of the weight into the left hand and the right shin. Kick the leg straight back as high as you can go. Keep the knee high, come out to the side, and try not to tip the body to the right. Let's continue those going. Nice and high, out to the side, and down. Make sure we're not tipping to the side. Keep everything straight. So we're moving just that left hip in the biggest range of motion that you can. Ten more seconds. All right, that's time. Whew. You might notice yourself getting a little out of breath from this. We got Cossacks to the right. Mobility training, as I've said before, is not just stretching. This is the stuff that's gonna make you move better. So to the right we go. Not as catchy as to the left, but it's gotta be done. Keep it moving. As low as you can get. Try to keep the feet facing relatively forward. It's okay for them to turn out a bit. Just try not to go way out to the sides. Ten seconds. One more should do it. All right, back to the hands and knees. Our final exercise of the day, and then we get to move on. So far, so good. Okay, so we're kicking back first. We're gonna have all the weight on the right hand and the left leg. So let's go ahead and get ready. Firm with the right hand and left shin to the floor. We're gonna kick the right leg back and then out to the side. Keep it as high as you can without tilting. Back, out to the side. Keep it as high as you can without tilting. Let's keep that moving. Back, to the side, and no tilting. Nice and slow. Almost there, guys. 10 more seconds. You got it. Power through. All right, and that is time. That was a tough one today. Turned up the volume on that just a little bit. Great work today, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.